of the body of the function component. That is what I was doing. Hook can be called inside the body of the function. Invalid hook called inside the body of the function component. This could happen for one of the following. The mismatching versions of React. You might have breaking the rules. What is the rule you are breaking? Hook can't be async. Obviously, we have not given that as an async, right? Where was that? Oh, sorry. So we are writing a async function inside this. So this don't need to be an async. Ajitesh, when we use dot then catch, we don't use await. No, that's a different part, right, Ajitesh? Why the reason we go for await is to not to go for the next part. Okay. Why the reason we don't go with the why the reason we go with the await is so that it will not go to the next line. It will be pausing. If we use then or if we use catch, it is completely irrelevant of whether to use await or not. Okay. When we use then, okay, this is fine. Okay. Now, how we are going to make use? I say abc@gmail.com, password 3. Once I click on this login, invalid hook call. What is making this invalid hook call? This is a use fetch. Under that use effect is the predefined hook we are using, and we are calling this method. Okay, let us see what is the custom hook we have created earlier. Let us go with the components custom hooks. Example fetch we created, fetch hook.js. So if you see what we have done is use async API, loading, etc. and all. Under the use effect, fetch data. So we are doing the same, right? Use fetch API, use Axios API. Okay, shall we do one thing? Let's take this guy. Okay, use Axios API. Let us give this use state. URL, it is fine, but it's not a method. It should be an object. Sorry, it's not individual parameters, but it should be an object. Method is going to be a get communication by default. Okay, but here we are always doing axios.get. That doesn't work. We have to say axios dot, sorry, axios of, sorry, axios guy itself will take a method. Method will be the method what user is passing. URL will be the URL. Data will be the data. We have to get even the data also. Okay. Oh, data is already there. User input. Okay. So I don't need to do this set response. Response, set response, response dot data. catch. Error. Set loading as finally this. Okay, so we don't need to go for this. Fetch data is the one which will be called, and we are going to return the data, and we are returning the loading, we are returning the error, loading and error. Okay, this is fine. Argument type string is not assignable to pipe parameter set state action null. That's fine. Okay, so let's reload this. The required module does not provide an export named use fetch data. Obviously, we changed the name. It is use Axios API. So it is use Axios API. Okay, now once I click on this login, say abc@gmail.com, password hello123. I click on this login. Why it is calling as invalid hook calling? I'm saying handle submit. Oh, we are calling this handle, we are calling this hook inside this method, right? Hook cannot be used here. That is the one which we are missing. So if you see on load of the page, we have done that. But in our case, we have to do this on click of action only, right? Yeah, that is what our requirement is. We can't go for this guy like this. Okay. Say after Axios, you are not using get. Yeah, we are not using get, but that I was passing using the method and all, right? Because if I use Axios.get, if I use Axios.post, it will be dedicatedly every time get or post. But if I do something like this, I can direct dynamically specify what is the method. Is it is get or it is post. Okay, this is a different way of using the Axios. Okay, Pallavi, you're saying that we have defined the function outside. No, no, Pallavi. The problem is with this guy. We are calling the custom hook over here. If I do the same guy, for example, if I do this over here, this won't be any problem. Okay. But our question is now, if you see, when I reload the page, user details is not defined. Data is user details, but it is not user details. It is this guy. Okay, for example, user data, I'm passing it as empty object. Let us see this. Now, when this component is coming, okay, when I say user access API, you see the search request has already been put. When I'm reloading the page, you see the request has been sent to the abc.com, the dummy URL what we have given. But my expectation is I should not, I have to invoke this guy, this user access onload calling that guy is completely invalid. I have to make use of something else. Then how do you go for that? Okay, we can make use of unmute. Okay. You can unmute yourself if you want to speak.
Yes, sir. Can I go to custom hook once?
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Here actually we are setting the set data. So can we return that set set data method? Oh no, sorry. From this, can we return the fetch data method, not the data?
I mean, if I use that, my expectation is you do everything. Okay. My
Hmm.
expectation is you do everything. You just give me the data. That's it. That is why we are going with the custom hook. You see, I'm just calling the method. I'm passing you the parameters. You give me whether it is data, loading, error. That's it. That is what my requirement is.
Yeah, but calling that function, at least it should return the method name, na, the fetch data.
We are getting
So
the data, right? We see, like, this is what we are
no,
getting.
but we are not
Ah,
getting the
we
fetch
are
data
getting.
method.
We are getting. If you see, right? If I console this,
No, but from this, how we are going to call the method,
no, no.
custom
Okay,
method.
for example, our requirement is where I need to call this. I need to call this when I'm invoking when the user clicks on the button. Agree? Agree?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Now, when it is a when it is a hook here, the rule what we have in your hook is hooks cannot be used inside the body of other function, right? So that is what it is blocking.
Yeah, but we can use the method, na, sir, if whatever custom hook is returning. So we can use that method inside.
Okay. I mean, okay. If the guy returns the method, if I invoke that method again, it is not surviving my job, right?
Mm,
If the, okay, I will say instead of returning the data, I will return a method. Now that method, I have to invoke it again. Then what is the job of mine?
no, no, you have to return data as well as method name that I'm saying.
I don't think, okay, forget about what he is returning. When I need to call this guy, you tell me. If it is
So on
Access
load
API,
component, yeah, here on load up, huh? That's the correct. But I think
that
so it should return a method name so that we can call it.
no, I don't want to call that once again. Okay, let me try that. Okay, let us check here. This is a good thing. Let's use the Copilot. What we wanted is uh, how to use the custom fetch API hook to be invoked on click of button. When a button is clicked, then an automatically on component. So this is what we wanted. So where is the custom hook here? Use the hook inside a component. So you see use fetch data API. Okay, this is what you're saying. So this guy will be returning a fetch data, and now you will be calling this fetch data. Pallavi, you're saying this,
Yes, sir, yes.
but my question is fetch data will be taking the URL and he will be doing everything, and this guy returns you. Async URL, load response. Okay, this is not Axios. We'll do one thing. Let's go with the Axios guy. How to use the custom fetch API hook, which is using Axios. Okay, the same guy loading error and so and so. This is a custom fetch. Now he is writing another method which is fetch. Okay. and return this fetch data to you. Okay. When we go with this custom hook, this is the fetch data. Okay. Then in that case, I don't even need to use this use effect. Async function fetch data, and this fetch data will be returned along with this. Okay, fetch data is in async guy, and he's going to do this Axios method, etc.
You will remove the test data from the climate method.
Sorry. Now I'll be getting this fetch data. This guy, I'll be getting error along with fetch data. Now this fetch data handle submit. We'll be using the fetch data for this. Actually, in that case, we will be passing this data not to this guy, but for fetch data, isn't it? So now this guy will not be there or here. Instead, it will be there for this guy. Use Axios API. Console log response so and so. This is an object and we are passing this. Okay. Let us see this. Cannot destructure property URL of undefined in custom hook. This is just use Access API. Cannot destructure property URL of undefined as it is undefined. Why it is undefined? Because we already gave the value, right? So which data it will be coming here. It will be coming to this. Which data we are passing as an object. Binding element URL implicitly has any type. I don't bother. Cannot destructure property URL of undefined as it is undefined. I'm passing this data, right?
Yes, sir. Can
Yeah.
you go to custom hook?
Sorry, ma'am.
Yeah, can you go to custom hook component once? Yeah. Here you are calling that fetch data method, line number 22.
Okay, okay. So here I need to pass this values.
I
Okay,
think so. We don't need
we
this
don't
method.
need to call this. Yeah, it will be called from there itself. So click on login. Response is response what we are getting. So from here, we are returning the fetch data access store method set data response.
Sir, I think so. We have to print data.
This is let us give the same URL. Let us see instead of dummy. Now we have this fetch data. Now I need to see this response, which is data. Data loading error and fetch data. Response is coming as null. Let's go to the network. Is the API getting called? We are getting the response. Set data response. Why it is still not coming?
Hello,
Yes.
go there in code. There is missing. I think that method is written data, but we are not capturing that.
Line number
2020.
20
Yes.
that we are already capturing over here, right?
Okay. Then, hmm. Go there again. Okay, this call handles 70. Can you log up? This data above first data, right? Line number 8.
But later, this is a hook, right? Whenever there is a change, it automatically does that, right?
Yes. But that data variable should be different, right?
So that is what the state variables has to be taken care. Whenever when we are calling this fetch data, it has to come here and this data has to be automatically returned for us. Okay, let us see this guy once. We were using the fetch data async guy, so and so. Okay. Just written as you can trigger when you want. Fetch data is not automatically called. Obviously, that is not getting called. And we are returning this from this guy. The same thing we have done. Okay. And the next part is this is on load of the app. We are invoking this custom hook. And we are handling it.
Sir, I think so. We are using array and we are returning the object.
Which line number, ma'am?
In component here, actually line number, not sorry, in header component. No, sorry, my bad.
Yeah, it is an object only. Yes. We are returning an object and we are catching an object. How is this guy should be used? Error while fetching data. Data. This is getting called, but we couldn't able to catch this data. Data. Written response objects, we usually want response data. Hook exposes fetch data, which you'll call inside your button. That is what I'm doing, which is exposing this method. Shall we go with a different example? Send a custom hook code in the chat once, sir. Okay.
Sir, we have used only async. We are not used await.
Where you want to use await? If
In
I use
inside custom hook.
inside your custom hook, we are not calling that method, right?
No, we are just
Okay,
using
here,
async.
right? Axios. We can say await, yes. This is an async guy, and this is so and so. This is null by the reason. Response is null, okay. Log loading log error. You see, this is coming. Loading is true null. In the sense, whatever we are giving by default, that is what it is coming. Later, it is not getting updated. On load of the page, whatever we are giving, right? That is what we're getting. For example, if I say set data as something called as name test.
Here, line number 14, after 14, could you please log the response.data?
Yeah, I'll do that. So if we come back and reload the page, I go for login, you see, the response is getting with the data what we have set on load. So this later is not getting updated. Okay, why the reason? return data, loading fetch data. And this is a state variable we are returning. Okay.
Can we log the console log?
Log it is coming, right? That is so clear. Here, if I do the log, right?
Yes.
Response to data. Okay, that will come. You see, this is coming. That will come for sure.
See here, it is coming later data, right? This is happening because of API
Async.
return data after some time.
Async and await, right?
So yes, async. Here we use the async await. Can't we? Don't need to use the in header component itself.
In header component, how do I make use of this guy? So in that case, you need to say await here.
Yes. And async line work
Await. No, this guy will be async. Let's remove this word because it's going to return a promise. Okay. So if you say await, then in that case, why do we need to go for await here? We don't need to. This don't need to be an asynchronous call. Well, it is happening later. Why the reason?
Sir, method we are calling, while calling it should be async, sorry.
While calling, we are saying, right? Await fetch data.
Okay.
We are missing. Let us see a complete example. Give a custom hook in React which makes Axios API Axios call, which makes an Axios call. Give a custom hook. Makes a Axios call. Now this is your use Axios. So data loading, same example, use effect. Only reruns if the method or URL changes. Now coming to the component, in the component what we are doing is return. What return? He is doing on load of the page itself. We don't want this. If it is on load, we are working. Okay. We have a custom hook in React which makes an Axios call, which will be called on click of a button. Just on a button click login. You don't want to use user effect to run automatically. Okay, that we have already done. Use Axios function, controller, Axios instance so and so, try set controller const. You see response Axios instance. What is this Axios instance? So and so. Now here how he is using response, error, loading and fetch. It is coming from here. Handle click, Axios fetch. And where is the response? Okay, this is the response. Same we are doing, right? You see, okay, cleanup. This is cleanup. We can skip this. Cleanup cancel request if component unmounts while pending. That is fine. What about this? This is all we are doing the same, right? Set error to so and so. And if you see, he's not even using, okay, he's using the await over here. Axios instance of method dot to lowercase URL. And what is this Axios instance we are passing? Axios instance is Axios. Then we can directly say Axios. Why do we do this? Okay, let's try this guy once. Under your custom hook, use Axios API. Okay, so what all is passing is Axios instance. I don't think we need to do that because we already know that it is directly Axios. That's it. We don't need to expect that from the user. Why it is Axios instance of method? Axios of get. This is something new. He's passing this Axios instance as a Axios object that we are using it. Okay, let us keep it whatever they have given. Axios instance. In that case, this guy will be Axios instance of method URL config so and so response set error. If error so and so, finally loading. This is an optional. You may give it or may not give it. Use Axios API. Okay. Coming to this guy, use Axios API. How we are using this guy? You're saying this response as so and so. Okay. Handle click is this guy. In that case, I need to pass this Axios. Axios.fetch.
Agent mode is not enabled, sir, here in your VS Code.
Sorry, which was that?
Just in the Copilot is not enabled here in the editor.
Yeah, okay. I will install that extension. Let us check this. Fetch so and so. Okay. Use access function is not defined. Obviously, it's not use access, right? It is use access API. Okay. Now, how do we catch this response? This guy response. or else response, shall we keep it over here itself? See, this is how the response is coming for us. But this guy is getting loaded on the page. If I say console, actually, because of this asynchronous call, we are not getting the response. But if it is binding on the page, it is coming. Now our expectation is do some small modification. How to use response in handle method after fetch. You need to modify the hook slightly. What was that? So request config is so and so. You say return response dot data. Axios dot fetch this guy. So here we can return response dot data. And once we return this, because it is a promise, then what I have to do is I have to say await, and then you can see the response. Okay, now you got the response like this. Okay, so what we have done is this guy config object. One thing is this thing is not needed. We're not doing any controller. So this guy, right, what will be used is whenever the API call is taking some n number of time, and in between, if the component is getting unmounted, in that case, it will be aborting that call. Okay, to not to make it confuse, I'm not going to make use of this guy, controller. I mean, to make it lesser code, signal. I'm not going to use any signals here. Name, in that case, we don't even need to do this to make it simple code. Now access.fetch config object. Axios instance method URL. We are going to get this error. Dot name cancel error dot message. Okay. Now let us reload this guy. Now I say this login abc@gmail.com. I say hello 123. Once I click on login, you see I'm getting the response. Now I don't need to even render it on the UI also. Okay. Yeah, let's go into this code. Here it is nothing. What we are doing is using Axios API and we are just calling this guy. That's it. Okay. So any questions over here under this custom hook? One thing what we were missing is we were not returning this data from this. This fetch data is also has to return something so that is what can be catched here and can be used. Otherwise, because of asynchronous, we are getting it as null. Okay, so now we made it as await for this guy so that after waiting, now anything you want to do here, you can just do that. Like for example, user is not logged in, user is invalid user. So those type of checks can be done over here. So any questions on this hook?
So here dot request request config, what it does?
Line number 35. Now if you
35.
see here Axios instance, we are passing what is the URL and what is the object what we are passing. This request config is the one what we are passing over here. You see, this is the object.
Okay.
Earlier, what we were doing is we were decoupling it like method URL and we are passing it. But now, for example, if you say the problem is if user mistakenly says something called as URL1, then that doesn't work because it will be passing to the Axios as a URL. Okay, URL is coming like this, right? For example, method. If we say method1, then that doesn't work over here. So this is the object. We are just passing that object as a parameter for this. That's it. Clear?
Okay, clear.
Any questions on this app, this custom hook?
Please walk through today's code, sir. I'm a bit confused.
Okay. Okay, that's what I'm saying, right? If you go from line number 26 to 49, what is the place you feel like error? Or if you say something is not understandable, I can tell you. This is one of the custom hook what we are using. He's going to return these three variables for us. One is the response. Sorry, four variables, four values he's going to return for us. You see line number 48.
Line number 38, config object, where it comes,
So Axios fetch is a method which is going to pass this config object. If you go here, we are calling this Axios fetch. This object, what we are passing, that will be coming as a config object.
okay, whatever in headers, header.tsx having Axios, that one will convert into the
Yes.
config object.
Yes. And here, if you see, we are not passing any request config. You see, we are not passing any, we are just saying that method. Now, for example, if at all you have to pass this request config, right? What do you mean by this request config? Request config is, for example, you want to pass any data. We are about to pass this data, right? User details, etc. So that data will be going as a request config. Now that request config will be passed to the Axios guy as an object. For Axios, you'll be passing a URL and you're passing the request config. Request config is headers, data, what you want to pass it to the server. Those things will be part of this request config. And this is user defined. You can say anything, but make sure whatever we are passing, the same key has to be used. For example, if I say req config,
Okay.
okay, while you're calling, you're passing this guy, then in that case, this can be as it is variable, but yeah, it has to be request config, and the same thing will be reflected over here.
Okay. Thank you.
Any questions still?
Remaining is okay, sir. Everything.
Okay, that's good. Anyone else? Any questions up to this guy? All good? Okay. Now, my expectation is I could able to hit a URL, we could able to get the response. Now, this is where you need to go with. When I'm hitting this guy, under your this. So if you see, reload it. When I go with this, so and so, when I'm clicking on this URL, you see this header. Where is this request header? Okay, 1 second. This is, what are we doing? We are making it as get communication, right? Let us make it as post. Okay. And this data is so and so. If I pass this as a post, URL config will be coming. It will be coming data as so and so, right? Axios URL. Data has to go like an object. Okay. Now let us see this guy. When I click on login, if you hit this guy, when I click on this payload, you see, am I passing this data, something called as email and password to the user or to the API? Yes. Okay. So what we need is, we need to hit this database, and to this database, we have to pass this data. But the problem what we have is we cannot directly go to the database. Now what I have to do, I need to create a simple web server here. We need to have a simple web server where the request will be going to the web server. Web server will read the data and it will be checking with the MongoDB. From there, it is going to get a response. The same data is going to respond back to the user. Okay, so this is what our requirement is. So instead of we directly going to the database, I want to go to my own web server, which is capable of reading this user ID password, which will be coming over here, and the same data will be responded back to the database. Sorry, it is going to compare the database, it is going to get the response, and it is going to give the response back to the client. So this is the complete flow, what is expected to be done. So till now, we are expertising on creating this client app. Okay, we are expertising on creating the client side, decoupling the code, making it as component wise, SPA, everything we have done. But now what we wanted is, we needed a simple web server which is capable of creating some web services. It will be having a number of web services. Every web service will be capable of doing some individual jobs. So we have to get that. Now, how do we create this web server? In order to create a web server, there are lots of web servers available in your market, something called as Apache. Okay, there is something called as JBoss. There is something called as WebLogic. There is something called as Django server. Okay, Python Django server. There is something called as PHP server. There is something called as .NET server, IIS server. Like this, there are n number of servers along with something called as Node.js web server. It is not mandatory that you need to stick to only one type of server. You can go with any of the server. Any server is capable of serving your requirement. Okay, any server is capable of serving your requirement. Now, what we need to do is, client guy has to create, we have to set up one of the web server where you will be creating n number of web services where it is going to respond back to you. Now, the first thing what we are going to cover today is how do we set up your web server? Where is the running notes? So what we are going to do is, so we are going to say setting up Node.js web server. So we have to set your Node.js web server using Express. Okay, UI full stack guys, you might have already know, but yeah, people who are only for the React, it's completely new for you. So what we are going to do is we want to create a Node.js here. So what are the prerequisites we have? The prerequisites is installation of Node.js and npm. So this is mandatory. You need to go to your command prompt, say something called as node -v. You should be able to see the node in the same way, npm. We should be able to see the version which is there. Anyway, if you could able to run your React in the sense, by default node is already there for you. Point number one. Now what I need to do is I'm going to create your web server based on the Express.js. Okay, based on Express.js, where Express.js is framework on top of Node.js. Okay, it is a JavaScript framework which is on the top of your Node.js only. Now, for that, what we need to do is install Express.js in local. Okay, how you're going to do? I say npm install express-g. I mean, globally, we would like to install. And another thing what we have is install express generator in local, which helps in creating boilerplate code for creating a node server. Okay, whatever the Node.js server we are going to create, for that, whatever the boilerplate code we needed, Express.js will be helping us. For that, what we are going to do, npm install express-generator-g. That's it. If we are, these are the prerequisites to create a server. Now, how you're going to create server? So create server is simply express what is your web server name. That's it. It will automatically create the boilerplate. And now you say npm install. It will be installing all the dependencies. You say npm start. That's it. These are the simple steps to create a Node.js web server. Okay, let me go here. We already created one of the web server. Let me delete this. I'll create a new one. Now what I'm doing is I'm coming to this command prompt. You see, I'm nothing to do with your React.js. You see, what I'm doing is this blue box, what I'm touching. Okay, what I'm going to create is this blue box, nothing to do with your React. Okay, that guy is a completely independent. Now I'm simply working on creating a web server in my local so that I can create some web services. Now, how you're going to do that? I say, not this. Okay, what I'm doing is I'm going into this here React patch folder. My requirement is I need to install Express npm install Express-G. If you ask me what is Express.js, Express.js is a framework which is on the top of your Node.js, which is helpful to create the, which is helpful to make the Node.js thing simple. Under your Node.js, whatever the API related changes we are doing, so that makes it simple. Now I'm installing that guy. This is nothing to do with your client. It's all the server side what we are doing now. Okay, this is installed. After this, there is something called as Express Generator. Why the reason you're installing this? This will help you to create the boilerplate code. Okay, what is the folder structure? What are the basic files you wanted? App.js, routes, uh, view, package.json. Those all things will be automatically created by this guy. That is where I'm installing this. Now this is also done. Now how you're going to create a server? Simple. Express. Okay. I'll say web server. Okay. I'll say shopping app hyphen web server. So online shopping app client application we created, and this is a shopping app web server. Now once we click on enter, Express is not recognized. Don't say that. Express hyphen GNERATOR. All good, right? Let us go with fresh. CMD series slash npm install express hyphen G express hyphen generator hyphen G. Now I say express test. Express
You're
hyphen.
installing in different folder. It's
No,
the
folder
first
is fine. Actually, when I'm giving hyphen G, right, you can make it anywhere. It will not stop you to restrict this.
one.
npm install express generator. Generator spelling is fine, right? Express generator. Express is okay. If I do it in one single folder, that will be done. But I want to make it global. Express generator.
Minus G should be after install, I think. npm install minus
You
G.
can place it
Global.
anywhere actually. Express online online shopping web server. Express npm install ng express. Okay, let me do that within this local to not to waste the time. If I say npm install express, it will be only under this React batch. Wait the hell? Express is not recognized as an internal or external command. No operable batch file. It should be working. In fact, we created that web server also here only, right? Or did I create it from my local machine, my personal system? Express web server. Node.js is there. Why it is not Express? Program files, Node.js. Node.js, Node modules, NPM. Express is not there. Yeah, make directory doesn't work. This is not no write permissions. Okay, in that case, we will be having UI full stack. So here we'll be having Express generator. It should be working for you local, right? npx express generator. It worked with the original command. Yeah, I mean, for you guys, it'll be working, but some issue with this system. Let's run the administrator mode. npm install express -g. And everything is a blocker.
Check the express version.
No, it automatically takes the latest actually. Don't say that, bro. Let's see. Express is not recognized. Express command line tool is not installed. npm install -g express generator. That is what we have done. On some systems, if you have permissions, restart your command prompt. Express version. Express itself is not getting done. Fix the system path in environmental variables. Okay. Environmental variables button. Add user profile. Add data roaming. This is also there, right? Under my environmental variables, if I go with the path, app data so and so, this path, this I can remove. Delete. You add path your directory, app data, roaming, and npm. Okay, C drive, users, Prasad, app data, roaming, and npm. Okay, let us see this. Yeah, now it's working. It's environmental variable missing. Okay, CD, full stack, CD, so and so. Now I want to create a web server. I say express online shopping hyphen web server. Do this. Now I say CD online shopping. Sorry, online shopping app is different. CD online web server is different. If we will do one thing to make it more simple, we will modify this guy client and server UI full stack so and so this guy, right? Online shopping app hyphen client, to make you guys more clear what is client and what is server. Okay, now this is a web server. Now first step what we need to do is npm install, so that it will be installing all the dependencies. And after this guy, on okay, now I say npm start. By default, server will be located under 3000 port number. Localhost, you can change that 3000. You see here, you should able to see your Express web server got run. Okay, now we are going to see, if you see here, open this web server, you see these are all the boilerplate code which got created. Express generated helped us to create all this. Now we need to see what all the web services, how you're going to create. Now you write how you write your web service to interact with your DB. So those things we'll be looking in our next class. Okay, so let's pause it for today. We'll be taken back on tomorrow. Have a good day. Bye for today.